I've had to confront fears of public speaking, meeting tight deadlines, fear of not making friends, but all of that's been fine, and it's still a growing process, but I'm getting there.
I really enjoyed it as much as you can enjoy studying. There's quite a lot of support available as well in terms of other students and also the staff on the course.
So it's definitely really fast paced, but I found it really rewarding. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed having the lectures. So I did my undergrad in psychology with the Open University, so we didn't really get lectures, so it was quite nice to sit in a room with a lecturer being lectured to.
It was good, yeah. It was very different to the previous degree I'd done in just the structure and the kind of style of learning and the amount. But looking back, I didn't kind of think of it at the time, but I learned a lot in a very short space of time, things that I really didn't know anything about. I enjoyed it. It was challenging as well, and also coincided with, you know, a move to London. But I look back on it fondly.
I worked, so it was challenging, but very manageable.
I really, really enjoy the MSc. It is hard work, and so you have to be really careful with making sure that you've got deadlines in mind, that I know what I'm working towards all the time, but it's so interesting. I really, really love it. There's been such a good range of subjects and topics that we've been taught on, that we can research for ourselves, and every week there's something else that happens or some new paper that's come out that's really exciting.
I've found the MSc so far like a great experience. I'm really enjoying it. I've met some fantastic people, made some great friends. It's provided me with like such a good opportunity to develop new skills and also to further develop some skills that I had before. It's given me a much better that kind of direction, and it's helped me kind of like think about more about what I want to do afterwards. And I think it's really kind of preparing me well as well.
I'd be lying if I didn't say it's been tough so far, mainly because I juggle it alongside my clinical work.
It's been great. I really, really enjoy it.
The staff have been extremely open, warm, friendly, supportive.
So I think it was overall a very positive experience. I think the quality of the teaching was great, and I was surrounded by highly intelligent students, which I think really boosted my potential as well.
It was really great. I loved it. I think the teaching staff did a really excellent job.
So it's been a mix of research and clinical work, and at both ends it's been very, very insightful.
I've really loved the MSc. I've been really grateful, you know, all throughout that I've been enjoying it, and it's been something that I found quite nourishing and always stimulating.
It's been really, really interesting, and it's been great in having the clinical background, but also having more knowledge about research and what's going on currently. And
I was always interested in psychosis and sort of psychotic disorders, so definitely the psychosis module was my favourite. It is being up to date with research and getting this new perspective in so many different areas. So for example, I didn't know anything about technologies and how it was used in mental health, and there was this whole new area that I ended up then going into with my PhD. That you get taught by very, very passionate lecturers. That's something I missed during my bachelor's, that some of the lecturers I didn't think they were as interested, but here it seemed like every single researcher just was so into his subject.
First off, it was really inspiring to kind of work with fellow students that had lots of experience and kind of seeing what they had to offer to clinical psychology and mental health services in the UK. Also the same with the staff themselves. It was really inspiring to hear all of the kind of research that they're doing and the impact that they're having on the NHS. It was just a very welcoming kind of atmosphere, so the staff were there to support us during our kind of journey through the Masters and to support us with any particular needs, such as developing our research or statistical skills. Was the psychosis module, so I have a really keen interest in that area, and so this module kind of kept us up to date with all of the research that's happening in the UK, and also a module called Culture in the Clinic. So I'm fascinated by cross-cultural applications of clinical psychology, and this module kind of gave us the anthropological and clinical perspectives of mental health conditions worldwide.
How well supported I felt by the staff. I felt that they were always there to answer any queries that we had. They're really attentive. I felt that they tried to give us a lot of feedback. Even before we did the actual coursework or the exams, there were opportunities for us to practice them.
What you learn is actually what you also practice in the field. The knowledge that you gain, you also have to practice that. Even for example, in the case of ethics approval, getting ethics approval, we had exactly the exact step to do. Mostly the practical aspect. For me, that was quite important because being in research and trying to find out what actually is useful in the day-to-day life of your work.
Well, I did find challenging some of the courses because of the language barrier, but also because I had almost no formal knowledge of research methods or stats. But the research and stats module were my favorite bits of the course because I felt that they gave me a set of skills that they are appreciated not only in psychology but also in other fields.
I'd say my favourite bit was probably the clinical placement, which was an optional part of the course. It's not mandatory and it's not assessed in any way. But I chose to do that because I wanted to gain some clinical experience.
I really liked the module about psychosis because I didn't know anything about it before. And I really liked an optional module called Culture and the Clinic, which is a very different take to all of the rest of the course and any other courses in this area. It's just very outside of the box and more of a medical anthropological take on mental health treatment, which I think was really important and has definitely stayed with me.
I already mentioned the placement was probably where I got the most value out of the course. But another thing I really liked about this course in particular was not so much the assignments themselves, because they're never enjoyable at the time, but the kind of assignments that they give you, because they're really workplace relevant. So you're doing posters, presentations, you're doing kind of journal style report writing, you're doing blogs. So it's all the kind of skills that you would need in the work environment, and I think that really helps prepare you.
To be when I was put into my journal club group, and I made my lifelong friends from there.
My clinical work, I'm doing it on a modular flexible basis, which is great because I can stretch it over 5 years to sort of complement my clinical career.